Hi, everyone. This is your girl, your host, Tiffany, owner and creator of The Mix. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my channel. I see you guys. I now have the ability to go live from my cell phone. I tested it out a little earlier today, and I might go live this weekend officially for sure. But I'll decide on that later. I wanted to hop on here really quickly to go over the recap R. Kelly videos I posted today, Friday. Probably going to post this before midnight or tomorrow morning. And I'm feeling sort of a little under the weather, so excuse me. I don't know if it was the gym, too many going to the sauna, steam room, all of that stuff, and just being in an open environment kind of consistently. But I'm gonna give myself a break, especially a break from the sauna. Okay, yeah, I wanted to hop on here really quickly to go over the recap of the two videos I posted, part one and part two of the motion style and the motion, first motion, the second motion, and I did not get a chance to go over the affidavit. Okay, I also want to go over that as well. And but what are your thoughts on the emotions file? Do you all believe that Judge Harry will rule in R. Kelly's favor? Or do you think it's politics? I believe I said in the second video, in my opinion, I do think if the judge is totally unbiased and go over all the facts and the legal arguments presented by R. Kelly's attorney Jennifer Bunjing, um, then the judge should rule in his favor, you know. But you just never know with these cases, especially it being Illinois, Cook County, also known as Crook County, quote unquote. So you just never really know how much influence runs through the court, um, legal system. So I'm not saying that is the facts that is facts with this case, but let's just be transparent and honest. It's kind of everywhere. you know, some people in certain positions of power and influence can kind of adjust the scale. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on the motions filed and this affidavit? In the second video, I went over the second motion that was filed, and really, to me, the smoking gun is the testimony done by Jane Doe, which is believed, according to the reports, according to courthousenews.com, um, it's Jane Doe or Jane. That's what the article states. Is R. Kelly's uh, alleged goddaughter, and that was she's from the early, I think, 2000s case, the state case he was acquitted of all charges in Chicago. So I'm still scratching my head as to what and how did they connect her to the federal case from, in what, 20 something years ago. It just make it make sense. Nevertheless, but her statements, her testimony on the stand, um, Jennifer Von Jean is calling it out as untruths, pretty much. And she's speaking to the testimony, Jane's testimony about restitution and her, I guess, her plans on suing Mr. Kelly. So, and again, this is all public and court information, and you can go over to courthousenews.com. They have a link to the affidavit, and I have it up here now. They do have a link to, and the affidavit is 8 pages, and also there's a link to the second motion that was filed. So both are in connection with one another because this this affidavit speaks to the attorney that Jane Doe hired prior to her testimony of last year in federal court. Um, and let's go over some of this. Okay. Trying to pull it up on this one. Bear with me. Defendant maintains that Jane's false testimony regarding restitution, and this is an excerpt from the courthousenews.com. So, defendant maintains that Jane's false testimony regarding restitution and the government's failure to correct it denied defendant of his due process rights, as well as his Sixth Amendment right to confront his accuser about matters that reflected on her credibility. Bonjean wrote this in the new motion, which is the second motion that was filed. On the stand last August, okay, so the trial was in August, and September was the verdict. Um, on the stand last August, Jane told defense attorneys in cross examination that she was undecided about whether she would seek restitution from the government in the event of Kelly's conviction. But Bajin claims that by the time Jane testified, she had already worked with the legal team to put together a restitution package, asking the court to award her 20 million, and the United States attorney would later use this package, Bonjean claims, to argue that Jane is entitled to 13 million from Kelly. And I went over this in the second part of the last video. Jane's testimony was not truthful when she explained she was undecided about whether she would seek restitution from Mr. Kelly. She knew full well she was seeking restitution in extraordinary amount if the defendant was convicted. The government knew it too. The motion states. This to me, like I stated to you guys, is a smoking gun. It really is. It's the smoking gun. This affidavit, and the affidavit actually is of the attorney that Jane Doe hired prior to, and I think she hired him in 2021 or 2020 prior to her testimony. And this affidavit is in her attorney. It was, yeah, Christopher Brown. He is an attorney, according to the affidavit. He is an attorney licensed to practice in the state of New York and Massachusetts for over 20 years. I'm just going over some excerpts of the affidavit. And it's signed by attorney Christopher Brown. Again, he practiced law for 20 years. She hired him. Jane hired him, it's alleged, according to this affidavit, in I believe 2020 or 2021 to represent her for restitution. I forgot something else too, against Mr. R. Kelly. Okay, okay, this is just going over his credentials, his educational career. He graduated from Boston College Law School in 1998, passed the New York and Massachusetts bar. His area of concentrating practice is business litigation, civil litigation, intellectual property litigation, and other areas of law in New York and Massachusetts. In 1997, he was a student prosecutor. District Attorney's Office in Massachusetts. So he has a highlighted career. Let's go. Based on my experience, I am familiar with the legal rates in my area of practice. In 2019 and 2020, his rate was $500 per hour. In 19 and excuse me, in 2021 and 20 through 2023, his rate to hire him as an attorney is $550 per hour. I am counsel to Jane in the above caption action, a victim of the defendant Robert Kelly. Ooh, this affidavit, it's a smoking gun. I don't know. I think Judge Harry should really take this in consideration. This affidavit is by someone else, another officer of the court. An attorney is like an officer of the court, you know. So they are held to a higher standard ethically. So for Jane's attorney Christopher Brown, to sign this affidavit to. Oh my God, this is the smoking gun. Okay, let me jump down a paragraph. So he basically said he represents Jane, who is the victim in the R. Kelly case, and he represented her. Okay, paragraph 10. Counsel to Jane, and above caption. Let me go to paragraph 11. The invoice at Exhibit A indicates the fees and expenses charged to plaintiff for prosecution of the copyright claim in the amount of 54,000. Copyright claim. Let me go up here. Copyright claim. I guess that's the restitution. Oh wow. Oh my gosh, they are really going at R. Kelly in every area. It's copyright. Oh my gosh. Invoice. So, oh wow. Okay, I gotta do a little bit digging on this. Okay, let me jump down to paragraph 12. The expenses are reasonable and account for 81.3 hours of time allocated in this case for the prosecution of the defendant and representing RL from, oh, that's her. The RL is Jane's real name, from 2019 through 2023. And I honestly, I do know her real name, but I'm not going to say it. So we're going to call her Jane. So basically, this case for the prosecution of the defendant and representing RL, which is the Jane Doe, from 2019 through 2023, I personally prepared the bill for the clients. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. She basically stated, and these are exhibits. This is an 8-page affidavit. And the affidavit, the exhibits attached is really the, oh my gosh, the bill. The bill. That's the exhibits saying that, hey, I represent Jane from 2019 through 2023. And Jane Doe basically stated in court that she didn't or didn't plan on hiring. She stated, I believe, I don't have the exact words. Matter of fact, let me just go back to the article. Let me go back to the article. Jane's testimony. Yeah. Jane's testimony was not truthful. And this is an excerpt from courthousenews.com. And the article states Jane's testimony was not truthful when she claimed she was undecided about whether she would seek restitution from Kelly. And this is, I believe, R. Kelly's attorney speaking. She knew full well she was seeking restitution in an extraordinary amount if defendant was convicted. The government knew it too, the motion states. So basically, the amount she was seeking is based on his copyright. Gosh, they going after everything. Oh my goodness. So, oh my God. Oh, what a tangle web we weave. Oh my goodness. So he basically is stating Christopher Brown, a managing firm of the law firm Brown and Brown, wrote in the document that he had charged Jane $54,000 for his services, helping her negotiate immunity. Yes, that was it. Immunity and restitution agreements with the government. His invoice claims that discussions over restitution date back to April 2020, more than 2 years before Jane appeared in court, which meaning before she appeared in court last year. Yeah, remember you guys? She testified in August, back in August, and R. Kelly was convicted. She testified, I think, back in August of 2022, and R. Kelly was convicted in September 22. So Jane Doe basically said she didn't. It was untruthful. It was untruthful that she didn't hire an attorney. She was undecided. Like basically, she. Oh wow. I wonder how they're gonna respond to this. Um, if they do, the prosecutors, the state, if they do respond to this, how would they respond to that? Would This is interesting, and I believe the judge, like I said, is reviewing all of this. Any reasonable judge, and like I said in part two, any reasonable judge, in my opinion, who reviews the facts, who is not heavily influenced by politics or people from behind the scenes, someone who is pretty fair and has good integrity and ethics, good ethics, high level of ethics, and wants to do the right thing in the interest of the law. And I'm not talking about in the interest of R. Kelly. I'm not talking about in the interest of Jane. I'm not talking about in the interest of who. I'm talking about in the interest of law. Justice, they say, justice is supposed to be blind. So, like I stated before, you can't color outside the lines. Do that happen? Absolutely. It happens. It happens. But it's not fair. It's not fair. And that's why you have the scales of balance, the scales of justice, That's why you have those scales, it's a balance. You have the lower court, you have the appeals court, you have the higher courts, United States Supreme Court. That's why you have a balance in Congress. You have Congress with a makeup of um, different party affiliations. So you have the president who can veto. You have Congress who can override the president. It's just that's the American law legal way. So, but yeah, any reasonable judge who has great integrity, um, high ethical standards, who is not heavily influenced. Yes, I do believe that judge will be fair and rule in R. Kelly's favor in this instance. I mean, look at this. Look at this affidavit. This affidavit, you guys, is from Attorney Brown, who represented and who currently seems like I think that it's an ongoing relationship. It didn't say anything in the affidavit, unless I'm missing it, that it ended. The client attorney client relationship ended between Jane Doe and Attorney Brown. So, based off of this information, and if I'm understanding this correctly, the attorney client relationship between Jane Doe and Attorney Brown, who signed this affidavit and testified under penalty of perjury in this affidavit, with exhibits to match. It's 8 pages, affidavit, 8 pages, including exhibits. He's represented her from what, 1920, excuse me, 2019 to 2023. Currently, seems like, based off of what I'm reviewing, that she clearly was untruthful, was a lie, on the stand. According to this affidavit, according to the second motion filed, this is all according to that. This is public information, you guys. So I'm not making this up. I'm reading the facts in this affidavit, the motion, this article, excerpts from this article. So yeah, Bonjean also said that Judge Harry should rule against the motions. Excuse me. The judge said that should, oh, excuse me. Attorney Bonjean also said that if Judge Harry ruled against the motion, she and her team will file an appeal for R. Kelly's case to appear before the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals. And rightfully so. And rightfully so. And then too, that's going to be on Judge Harry, because if the appeals court gets this, and of course attorney Jennifer Bonjean is going to present this, and probably she has some other stuff in her arsenal, this plus more, I'm sure. That's going to make Judge Harry look like, come on, dude, what were you looking at? Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. And then people are going to be oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I wonder, did Judge Harry get voted in? Probably so, because I think that's the circuit court level. Appeals court is, I believe, appointees. You get appointed. I have to do a little bit more digging to make sure I'm accurate on that, but I do believe Judge Harry, federal level circuit court, is voted in. I think so. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. I don't want to be providing misinformation, but yeah. Jennifer Bonjean. Oh, let me repeat that again. Jennifer Bonjean states that she said in her motion, if Judge Harry rules against the motions, she and her team will file an appeal for R. Kelly's case to appear before the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, and rightfully so. So, you guys, what do you think? What do you think? Looking at this affidavit, listening to my first part one and part two of my reaction and commentary on the motion, the first motion, the second motion, now this affidavit. Do you guys think? This is like a recap video. This is a recap video. And excuse me, I'm just kind of feeling under the weather, my throat and all of that stuff. So, and my nose and stuff. So, excuse me, I apologize. What else does this article say? There's a couple things like whether he serves his sentence consecutively that are definitely appealable. Bonjean said, she is a beast. Pit bull in the skirt, and I say that respectfully. Mm, mm, mm. Then it goes into the article. They go into the article about R. Kelly state case being dropped. Yeah. Yep. The state case, Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox dropped his case earlier this year. Let's do a full recap. Let me go ahead and do a full recap. Where's my notes? Where's my notes, people? Ah, my gosh. I didn't plan on coming on here doing this tonight, but I don't know. I guess I got the YouTube bug. Like, I just can't stay away, especially when you're doing interesting topics like this. Well, when I'm doing interesting topics like this. Where is my notes? Okay, I think I have them. My recap notes. Recap. Let's recap this. Let's run down his cases. That's what I'm going to do. Run down these cases, where we're at. Okay. Yeah, these are my little notes. Okay, you guys. I'm going to run down the cases. And again, excuse me, I just feel a little under the weather and I will survive. Okay. New York federal case 2021. R. Kelly was convicted. That was the New York racketeering case. Jennifer Bonjean is handling, I believe, his appeal. She was not on his trial team for that federal case. So she's handling the appeal. And then we got the Chicago federal case. Last year, he was convicted September 2022 on six counts, six charges he was convicted of, child P. That is, these motions are filed. She filed two motions. The motion for acquittal and the motion to, I think, dismiss all charges, which are common motions that are filed post-trial, post-conviction. Whether again, what are um, the common post-trial motions that are filed? Those were the two, and they're filed after a conviction, and appeal is pretty much in motion. And I'm quite sure it's probably prepared as we speak. So if Judge Harry comes back and denies these two motions, boom, Jennifer Bonjean is filing it. And that's gonna, because in these appeals, and once it goes to a higher court and they are looking at these legal issues, they don't look at the what happened in the trial court. They look at the legal stuff, the how the laws apply, were there any violations. Again, if the trial court, the prosecutors, DAs, and a judge, did they color inside the line? Did they color inside the line? Was there any misconducts? Was there any legal errors? All of that. And as I stated before in the past videos, you have to, as a DA, state's attorney, all of that. And then even as a law enforcement, because that's a trickle down effect, because it starts with law enforcement. And if there's any errors or any shadiness and all of that, that means it's not a strong case, and the said defendant the perpetrator could come back with a strong appeal and be let go free. Yeah, they're doing some time, just like with Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, I think, did 3 years in prison, but you see, all of that is erased. Yeah, in the public eye, it's still like a taboo conversation, but I'm speaking from a legal perspective. You know what I'm saying? It's all going away in the public eye, public perception, public opinions, and social culture may say, "Oh, throw the stones at you," but from a legal perspective, that's been wiped away with Bill Cosby. It has. Now, what the public thinks, what society thinks, is totally different. But legally, that is gone away. That criminal aspect of it is gone. It's gone. It's gone. So, okay. So I said, let me go back to the recap. So, 2021 case, he was convicted. Mr. Kelly was convicted. Um, Forgot the years of sentencing because he was sentenced in that. Chicago federal case, he was just convicted. Sentencing is scheduled for February 23rd. And then, you guys, too, February 23rd. If you look at that, 223, number 7, I heard that somewhere that means something in a universe. I don't know if I heard that it means something good, basically. So I'm gonna do a little bit more digging on that. Like, that's something good, universe wise. So hey, and number 3, we have the Chicago State case, Cook County case. Kim Fox, State's Attorney Kim Fox, dropped those charges this year, in 2023. So yeah, it looks like, I honestly, you guys, I do believe R. Kelly will be released. I'm not sure when, but I do believe all of this is pointing in his favor. So as long as it gets to the right people legally to do their job the correct way, legally and fairly, in terms of the appeals courts, judges, if they do their job fairly, like I stated, justice should be blind. If they do their job fairly, then yeah, this is definitely going to go in his favor. And I think somebody even mentioned too in one of my in the comment section on one of my posts, because I think I asked the question. There's another case. They said it's in Minnesota. I haven't heard anything about that. If you all heard something, I mean, drop a comment below. I'll do a little bit more digging on that, but that's probably not going to go anywhere as well. It's probably going to, just like Chicago, Cook County State's Attorney dropped the charges. Yeah. And there was only 4 charges, I believe, in the Chicago Cook County State's case. There was only 4 charges. They were struggling they just couldn't, because it wasn't a strong case. So yeah. Yeah. So with that being said, that's that. And this affidavit, you guys, look at it. Look at it. It's a 8-page affidavit. 8 pages. Yeah. A 8-page affidavit. 8 pages. What else is on the affidavit? Let me see. The first page, and a portion of the first page, is the legal stuff that Attorney Brown, who represents Jane Doe, oh gosh, yeah, he basically testified. So yeah, under penalty and perjury, and he signed his signature, Christopher L. Brown, attorney at law. He signed the affidavit. His exhibit A, is the bills. Dang, it's from 2019. 2019, 20. You guys, look at this affidavit, the charges. Oh my God. Yeah, the exhibit is just really, the exhibits, it's more pages than the actual affidavit. The affidavit is like 1 page in a portion, almost half. And that doesn't even, it's like a quarter. And then his signature is in the middle. And then page 3 through 8 is all bills from 2019. And so Jane Doe got on the stand in a federal case and basically said she was undecided in regards to seeking restitution from Mr. Kelly. But this was a deal worked out between, to my understanding, Jane Doe and the state, the the federal government in the works. And Attorney Brown represented Jane Doe in this negotiations. Wow. Wow. This is a smoking gun. Judge Harry, come on now, do the right thing. Judge Harry, do the right thing. This is a major smoking gun. Just off this alone, it should be throw the whole thing out. We're done. Come on now. And I heard the New York case appeal, that's on appeal. And I heard there are so many legal errors with that. Oh my gosh, from jurisdiction that it happened in New Jersey, not sure how New York got it. This is alleged, all alleged. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case. Also, the charges in that, if it's RICO, I think Mr. Kelly is the only one doing time. It just makes absolutely no sense. It just makes absolutely no sense. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And somebody testified that I guess he gave them I think the New York trial that he gave them that it's alleged that he. How can you allege that someone gave you something when I don't know? You know, I'm not a physician, none of that, but it just all doesn't make it. How do you prove that? How do you actually prove that if you have multiple partners? Not sure if this female or the alleged victim had multiple partners. I don't know. I don't know. How do you prove that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And also, too, is those conversations just say, was that a conversation? I mean, aren't we all responsible for our own bodies to a certain extent? Now, I can see if you were married, but I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, you guys, let's get this discussion going. Drop down into my comment section. Again, this is a recap video of the last two videos, part one and part two of the motions filed. This also, I briefly went over the affidavit, which actually the affidavit is 8 pages long, but most of the pages are of the bills that Jane Doe